Good evening, all of you. We are really sorry for the inconvenience occurred due to a server error. Anyway, so I am Sanduni Pereira, your session host of this evening. I hope you all are doing well in this pandemic situation. So, to officially begin today's awareness session, I would like to invite our IEEE Stream 15.0 Student Ambassador, Vice Chairman of IEEE Student Branch of University of Vocational Technology, Heshan Jaisingha, to deliver the welcome speech.
Thank you, Santini. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Today, this program, organized by IEEE Student Branch of University of Vocational Technology, to introduce IEEE Global Coding Competition, IEEEXtreme. This is the first time we join in this IEEEXtreme coding competition as a student branch. So I'm glad to organize this awareness session as a student ambassador IEEEXtreme 15.0 of our university. I think this is a great opportunity for our university undergraduate to compete their program knowledge with the world. So I'm not going to talk about more details about IEEEXtreme because we invited most experienced, talented guest speakers to share their knowledge, ideas, and with more things with us. First of all, I would like to welcome Dean, Faculty of Engineering Technology, Senior Treasurer and Consultant, IEEE Student Branch of University of Vocational Technology, Dr. R.L.W. Kogalage, Head of Department, Electrical and Electronic Technology, Dr. Sanjeeva Sondaragolla. Then I would like to welcome our guest speakers, Mr. Injrit Ekanayaka, Sri Lankan Section Lead at IEEE 15.0, and Mr. Gihan Jayatilaka, Research Assistant, University of Peradeniya. And also, I warmly welcome all the participants to today's session. I ensure the webinar will be profitable for everyone. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Heshan. Now, we are moving to one of the important speeches of today's session. Before that, I would like to introduce our speaker. He is the Sri Lankan section lead at IEEEXtreme 15.0 at IEEE, and he is currently working as a demonstrator at NSBM Green University. So, I warmly invite Mr. Indrajit Ekanayaka to deliver his speech on introduction about IEEEXtreme.
Hello, good evening all. Am I audible to you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, nice. So yes, thank you for the warm welcome, and I really first I should really appreciate the effort you are doing here. I mean, the improving the algorithmic computing in Sri Lanka with among the university students. So yes, a bit about myself. I am the section lead ambassador for IEEEXtreme 15.0 and currently working as a demonstrator at NSBM. plus I'm doing my master's in big data analytics. So let me share my screen first. So please, can I confirm like my screen is visible?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So yes, I have prepared a small presentation for today's session. Sorry. So basically, this is the recipe for your success in IEEE Extreme 15.0, which means everything you need to know with regarding the competition, the rules, how to be ready, and all. So yes, let's before start forward, can I ask a question? So how many of you have participated IEEE Extreme before? Are there any participants from our attendees? Just raise your hand or just drop a comment. Okay, it seems like almost most of the people haven't participated about IEEE Extreme before. Uh, okay, so it's totally fine. That's why we are here, right? So we are here to know about this competition and participate and win. So this is the best time. So let's get started. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. If not, please inform me. So what is IEEE Extreme? IEEE Extreme is a like biggest programming competition which organized by IEEE global. So what is IEEE? If anybody like are new to the IEEE is the biggest governing body for engineers and scientists all around the world. So the IEEE represents more than like 80 countries. So yes, that's why this is important. So yes, if it is come to the when it is come to the IEEE Extreme, so this is a 24-hour event. So which means we need to code 24 hours straight forward, and we will. They will. If you are familiar with the hacker rank challenges and the hacker, uh, yes, you will seem familiar with this as well. So yes, undergraduates and the graduate college students. So I hope almost all the audience from university studying industry people or the academics, uh, this is not for you. So IEEE Extreme targeting for all undergraduate and graduate college students. So with an active IEEE student membership. And I would say there were some colleagues I know, they renew their IEEE membership just for this competition. So that's much worth, I mean. So as you are aware, IEEE membership costs around some $29 or something. I'm exactly not sure the current rate and all. Yes, there were some people renewing their membership just for this competition. So yes, the competition this time the competition going to be hosted in virtually, and most importantly, there is a proctor which assigned to your team. Proctor could be your lecturer, who has IEEE Young Professionals membership, or IEEE Fellow grade membership, or any senior IEEE member. Yes, it like there's no such rule. The proctor definitely from your student branch, but it could be vary. So if your student branch doesn't have like the 2 to 3 proctors, but you have some teams like 50 to 20 teams, so you can request directly to me or your student branch ambassador to for a proctor. So we will try to find out a proctor for you from the Sri Lanka section. So this is nothing big, just as an invigilate in your exams, in your coding competition, we have a proctor to mentor you and report your report whether you are following the guidelines, you are following the rules of the competition. So there is a mentor. So let's move to the next slide. So what makes IEEE Extreme unique? Okay, before coming to this slide, I would say some of the data and some of the statistics I have shown in this presentation is relevant to 2019. So we are not the 2020 data is not yet released. As soon as released, I will share with your university ambassador. So then they will be shared with you. So yes, but 2019 data is relevant with us, right? It's 2 years back. So if we take the 2019, there were more than 9,500 participants from all around the world in more than 60 countries. And IEEE Extreme always like welcoming people from all around the world. There is no such restrictions. So if you are a university student, you are following a degree, it doesn't matter whether part-time or full-time. If you are following a degree or you are following a master's or whatever PhD, you can participate the competition. So there is no such restrictions. And this is really worth for your profile, or I would say your CV. Why is that? Like from all around the world, let's say you are writing a CV for a university in America for your PhD. So when you are mentioning that you are a winner of IEEE Extreme, they know the brand. IEEE Extreme is a brand. Like this is happening throughout like more than 10 years, right? So this is the IEEE Extreme 15.0. So there was like previous 14, throughout the 14 years, this is happening continuously. So that's the worth which brings you to a CV. So yes, it's really worthwhile. Let's move to the next slide. So yes, this, as I mentioned, this has begun to the 2006 with 44 teams, just a little. And now in 2019, it hosted with 4,138 teams. So which is a big deal, right? So like if we look at the growth, in 2019, we had like around like 81% growth when we comparing to the previous years. Yes, I hope this year it would be like more than 4,500. So which is a like tremendous. So this is the overall member engagement hierarchy. There are participants, proctors, ambassadors. So I am an ambassador to represent in the IEEE Extreme brand for Sri Lanka. And your university also have an ambassador to represent the IEEE Extreme brand for your university. So apart from that, we have colleges and countries. So this is a 2019 data. So I would say in 2020 data could be little differ, but almost the same. So we have participants. Participants are the people who actively engaging with the competition, who doing the coding challenges, submitting their answers, and participants are the people who getting into the lead board. And yes, so proctors are the mentors for the participants. Most of the time, proctors should be IEEE Young Professional membership, should have IEEE Young Professional membership, or IEEE Fellow membership grade. So there were 880 proctors in 2019. Ambassadors, as I said, we are ambassadors who representing the brand. So in 2019, there were 509 ambassadors. So colleges, universities. So colleges and universities also have like a major role here. So the students are always representing their university. So whenever the student got ranked in the world lead board, so it ranked with your university. So if you can be a top 10 teams in globe, it will be like you are doing something for the university you are learning, right? So it is a like really nice thing. And in 2019 there were 73 countries involved. Let's move on to the past winners of IEEE 14.0 Extreme. So this is the past winners. Last year, this is the last year data. First place went to the Jordan, and second place went to the Brazil, and third place went to the Australia. As my memory is clear, if I as per my memory, in IEEEXtreme 13.0, first place and second place went to USA, and third place went to Thailand. So of course, why we can't like come into the lead board in the next time? So yeah, like there might be somebody in this meeting like will come to this lead board and like make Sri Lanka proud. So yes, so this is the eligibility to participate. So I will specifically get into details on students, and I will roughly tell how the proctors and volunteers, what are the eligibility and all. So I think almost all of the participants are students. So you should have IEEE student membership or graduate student membership. So IEEE student membership have like two types. One type is a student membership and one type is graduate student membership. So normally the people who are doing their bachelors are coming to the category student membership. So normally the people who are doing their masters or their PhDs come into the category graduate level students. So for example, I am a graduate level student. Yes. So one team can consist of 3 students maximum. So it could be 1 to 3. Yes, but there is no such barrier due to entry. So whether you are studying computer science, no need to study computer science. Whether you are studying civil engineering, whether you are studying electrical and electronics, there's no barrier. So you can participate the competition, and yes, obviously win the competition. So if I go to the proctors, so proctors should have IEEE membership grade, young professional membership, senior membership, or life membership, which is the fellow membership grade. So yes, students or graduate membership can't be a proctors. So your fellow undergraduates or your fellow colleagues can't be your proctor. Proctor should be a senior IEEE member from your university. Most of the time, it could be a lecturer responsible of IEEE Student Branch, or it could be a lecturer or professor who have the IEEE senior membership with him. So yes, there is no such barrier. The proctor could be from the faculty of engineering, faculty of computing, or whatever the department. There is no such barrier. You just need to have a senior membership or young professional membership or life fellow membership. And in the past days, we are having this competition in physically. So almost all of the time, throughout the 24 hours, proctor engaging with the teams and like mentoring them, not supporting them for the competition. Students have to do the questions on their own and participate the hackathon on their own just to mentor. So there are the other type is volunteers. So we are volunteers. So IEEE ambassadors and the judges are the voluntarily people who are supporting and doing this for betterment of the community. And of course, volunteers need IEEE membership. If you would like to be a volunteer on the next year, you can just email to this email. So IEEEXtreme at IEEE.org. So usually we are having a volunteer call in each and every year. Then you can apply and be a volunteer or be a judge in future. So if we move on, so this is the team composition. So look at this carefully. So the SM refer to student member, GSM refer to graduate student member. So team, as I said previously, team could be consist of 3 members. 3 members. So it could be 3 student members. It could be 2 graduate student member and 1 student member, or it could be 2 student member and 1 graduate student member. But remember, it can't be 3 graduate student member. Graduate student member, 3 graduate student members can't be there. So always there should be a student member as well. So if you are participating individually, of course you can, but as a person with previous experience, I prefer to go for a team with at least 2 members, because this is not that easy competition. We need to prepare from months. Actually, that's why we are having the awareness session in June, right? So we are preparing for the competition 3 months prior, which is essential. And one like there can be very rare occasions, it can be a winning team with 1 student member, but I prefer to go for a 2 or 3. But of course, you can go with a team with 1 student member. And this is one more important thing. Proctor can be supervised only a maximum 8 teams, 1 to 8 teams. So proctor can't take more than 8 teams. So if your university has 10 teams, but have only 1 proctor, 2 teams will be left there without a proctor, right? So without a proctor, you can't compete. So in that case, you can contact directly me. The organizing team will be give my email and contact details, or you can directly contact your university student ambassador, or you can directly contact even the Sri Lanka section. We are always here to help you for this. Wait, let me go to the chat. Okay, my voice is lagging a bit. Sorry, I just saw the message. I hope now it's clear. If it is really hard to understand, please tell me. And if you have any questions, you can drop in the chat. I will, towards the end of the session, I will go through each and every question and answer as within my expertise. So yes, as I said, Proctor can only only manage maximum up to 8 teams. So yes, obviously team members can't get any assistance from others. So in past days, we used to have the event in physically. So we are like dividing our teams in some lecture hall, and our lecturer or the proctor, like almost all of the time, he or she is staying there. So we can't like actually we can chat, of course, we can share our ideas, but not to copy. So if I move on to the next slide, what is the impact? So as students, you can exposure and get the networking throughout the global throughout this global programming competition. So which is a good chance. So you can get to know with the people from around the world who have the interest in the algorithm programming, and getting to know about it, more about it, and get the rankings. And of course, the top people, the first place, second place, third place, and the fourth place have some amazing prizes. And of course, you can add your like the ranking into your CV, develop your personal confidence in algorithmic computing. And of course, in the previous days, this is really enjoyable thing. We are staying at university 24/7, so 24 hours, not 7, 24 hours, and like we are really enjoying, and like messing with our codes, and like redoing and doing trial and error, and it's really enjoyable thing. But I hope in this year it will be held on virtual. I'm not that sure. Um, yes, I hope in future we can move on to the physical way again. So proctors can also get more exposure into the global programming community, and help the students and mentor the students. And top 3 proctors can earn some Amazon gift cards, gift vouchers from the IEEE organizing team. So, well, as volunteers, we can also get to know about new people and network with this global community, and enjoy and do something for the betterment of the society. And yes, getting to know with like other volunteers. So yes, this is really interesting, and I tell you, like, you also want to be a volunteer in IEEEXtreme, you can of course apply and get selected. So this is the interesting part. What are the prizes? So for the first place, there's a full paid trip to IEEE conference, 10,000 US dollar for the second place, and third place and fourth place. These are the prizes you're gonna win. But students, this is not like easy as it sounds. This is really competitive. Like you have to compete with more than nearly 10,000 teams from around the world. Sorry, not 10,000 people from around the world, not teams. Yes, this is really tough, but there is a chance. In last year, there's a team from Jordan. Jordan is not that like popular country for the computer science, right? The popular universities for computer science are like MIT, Caltech, Harvard. So yes, of course we can. You also can win. This is like there's no such barrier. And before obtaining the prizes, they will like check through your answers whether you do not need like you can't copy from any other sources. And after revising, if you are like if your team is under the regulations, and then you can win those prizes. So top 100 places can win such gifts. So we have one guest speaker, Mr. Gihan from University of Peradeniya, and he has become top 100 in few years, I guess. So it will be more interesting in the next session. So okay, let's move forward. So yes, as a student branch, as a student, so you can like to engage more students, you can organize awareness events and do the usual social media marketing and get into more people and increase the count. So increasing the count would be get more chance to get a top place for your university. So you are not representing yourselves here, you are representing your university and your country. So if you got a top 100 place from the globe, you will definitely noticed throughout the country, and you can go to such tech talks and share your experience with others. It's like such a good thing. So yes, all the success is depends on you and us, what we are doing and how we are spreading our word throughout the community. So yes, I will towards the end I will share the social media handle for IEEE Extreme. There were like more than 100,000 likes there, so you can get into know more latest updates. So yes, so usually this is how we are doing the coding competition. We are printing some sacks, we are printing t-shirts, we are like arranging our dinners. So that's how we used to I used to participate. And as I said previously, I hope in future we can arrange some events like this again, which is really enjoyable. But I'm not uh, I'm not saying the online participation is not that good, but it's also good. But yes, that's how it is. So yes, of course you can practice with previous IEEE Extreme questions. Go to this link, csacademy.com/IEEE Extreme #practice, and you can see what are the previous questions from the previous years, and you can trial and error on your own and get it to like know this, what is the algorithmic computing and what is the algorithmic programming. So this is initiated in 2015 and this is still available. You can go there and practice before participating. I really prefer practice, at least practice 10 to 15 questions before participate the competition, because I know from my previous experience, I have participated IEEE Extreme for twice, and like my team is ranked around the top 100 teams in the Sri Lanka, not globe. So yes, in terms of practicing and in terms of getting into ready, so we have more, we have the best speaker here today. So Mr. Gihan will like go through the overall, all the like how you need to practice and like yes, how to get into it. More than me, he's the most suitable one. Okay, so this is the usual problem. So just I will give you a few seconds, just go through the screenshot. So the programming competition is going to happen in a website called CS Academy, which is similar to HackerRank. If you are with a computer science background, of course, you might have heard of HackerRank. So CS Academy is also a similar platform. So yes, there's a time limit and memory limit for the code which you are writing. So they are in top, they are mentioning the question. Then like they will like tell how the standard input should be and the standard output should be, and there will some examples, input output examples. By looking at those, you need to write a program for the given question. So you will, as usually we will mark out of 100, and you will get some mark. The mark is depend on the accuracy of the code, and there are some stuff. So you will get into know these things whenever you get into more with the CS Academy website and the platform. In your free time, you can just go there and practice some practice questions. In previous slide, I said or less you can practice previous questions from this link. So ambassador program. This year ambassadors are already selected in your university. Also there is an ambassador, so you can apply for the ambassador program on next year and get selected and do something good for the community and share your previous experience with IEEE and yes, engage with the international community around there, international volunteers. So these are some give bugs. So these are the sponsors for IEEEXtreme. So yes, so the registration would be start in the first week of August and it would end first week of October, and the competition would held 23rd of October 2021. So please mark your calendars with these dates, and I prefer to practice from now. So today it's 11th of June, I guess. So you have 3 months to be ready. And this is, students, this is not easy. You need to put some effort to get into top rankings. So how your local student branch can support? So of course, as at the moment you are doing something for the IEEEXtreme, right? You are organizing an awareness event, so which is a good thing. You can organize events, do some practice hackathons in your universities, or else you can create some videos from your YouTube channel, how to get into the algorithmic programming and how to solve a problem. So these are the few things you can do for your student branch. So in 2 years back, there's a some rule from the IEEE global level. So your proctor need to confirm your team in order to participate. So if you want to participate in the competition, you need to inform the proctor to confirm your team. So the proctor will receive an, whenever you have applied with the team members, proctor will receive an email about the application, and proctor need to confirm his ability to mentor your team. Then only you can participate and get into ranks. Okay, so So I'm not the best person to like explain about the best practices and how to get into ready. So we have Gihan. Yes, it's better if you can create a WhatsApp group and like other volunteers in your university. So finally, this is the final slide. Sorry for taking some time. So yes, you can join our Facebook group. This is the extreme global Facebook group, facebook.com/IEEEXtreme. And if you want to know any further details, you can refer this website. And of course, I will share the slide deck with your campus ambassador. So then he will share all the information with you. I hope you got some interesting information. Let me see the chat. Let's see. Are there any questions? Yes. Somebody is asking a question. Undergraduate students come under student member category. Yes. So three of us can form a team. Yes. Three students can form a team clearly, but three graduate students can't do that. At least there should be a one student member. So all of the three people are student members, which means the undergraduates. It's totally fine. Hope you got the answer. And some people saying that it's a lagging. I'm really sorry. I can't do anything for the connection. I'm really apologize. Please accept my apologies. Yes, somebody is asking question. If it is virtual, yes, team members can participate from the your home. You can arrange some online call or something to discuss the questions with your. Okay, I will share the practice link in the chat. Thank you for that question. Somebody is asking. Yes, of course. If the competition is virtual, most of the time it will be virtual on this year as well. Last year we had it virtually in 2020, 2021 also. Most of the time it would be virtual, so you can participate from your home. But I prefer you can arrange some video call or something to discuss with your teammates. Like you can divide your roles, and you doing this part, you doing this part, and you doing this part, and do like make happen as a team without doing it individually. So I will share the practice link to the chat, and if you have any further questions, please I will stop sharing. I will put the practice link into the chat. If there's any other questions, I would happy to answer. Yes, there is no such rule. You can use whatever the programming language you want. But when it comes to algorithmic programming, I would prefer C++ or Python, which is quite easy. But yes, of course, you can use whatever the programming language you want. If you can write it in C language, it's also fine. Yes, I hope I gave the answer.
Excuse me, is there a limit of parties in a group?
Group should be contain 3 members, not more than 3.
Okay.
It could be less than 3, but not more than 3.
Okay.
Okay. So okay, there is a question from A-level student. I'm sorry to say, but you need to have a university email in order to participate. So Tarindu, please can you drop me an email in private? Then I will consider and I will go through all the rules and let you know. I will put my email into the chat. Are there any questions? Okay, I think That's it. Okay, thank you for having me, and I'm really grateful to share some knowledge with you. Yes, have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Indrajit Ekanayaka, for that informative speech. I hope all of our participants today got a much clearer idea about IEEE Extreme with the support of your valuable speech. Now, I would like to introduce our second speaker of today's session. He is also a special individual. He got into algorithmic programming in 2015 with Team by Code when he enrolled at the University of Peradeniya as an undergraduate. Team by Code won a bunch of national level awards in programming competitions. They became champions in IEEE 10.0 and 11.0 and become runners-up in IEEE Extreme 12.0 and 13.0. Also, they were champions in ACES coded both 2016 and 2018. Currently, he works as a research assistant at the University of Peradeniya, working on computer vision algorithms. So, I most warmly invite Mr. Gihan Jaitilaka to conduct his session about the experiences and getting ready to IEEE Extreme. Mr. Gihan, over to you.
Hello. I hope you can hear me. Let's start. First of all, thanks for the introduction. And thanks Indrajit for the informative introduction to IEEE Extreme. I want to clarify two things first. Is my voice lagging or unclear?
No issue here.
Okay, the other thing is my screen on full size or else are you seeing a small rectangle as it was in Indrajit's presentation?
No, full size.
Full size, okay. Then let's start. So I'm going to talk about algorithmic programming competitions. So I'm Gihan, and I want to acknowledge Suren because I'm basing these slides on some of his slides. So it's like we have a common running set of slides for all these algorithmic programming promotion stuff. So thanks Suren for the slides. We have okay. Let me start by telling you what this algorithmic programming is. So as you know, there are two words here, algorithms and programming. Broadly, solving any problem with an algorithm. An algorithm is a set of instructions to a computer, and writing it on a computer program is algorithmic programming. But by this definition, almost any program is an algorithmic program. But that is not what we are interested in this competition style work. So we are talking about algorithm intensive programming, where the main task is the algorithm, not the rest of the stuff. And these algorithms are in a very specific mathematical and kind. So there is a this is not all the algorithms in the world, but let's use the algorithm intensive programming as the keyword here. So there are three major considerations in all these algorithmic programming tasks. One is the correctness of the answer. Next one is the efficiency. Efficiency in the sense space and time. Space is the RAM usage and time is the CPU usage. For any code to run, we want to think about correctness and efficiency, and scalability. Scalability in the sense, how can this program do a lot of work at once? We'll get into that on the presentation. Some examples of algorithmic programming. Still, we didn't come to competitions. Algorithmic programming are decision systems, planning systems, scheduling, optimizing, all these task planning, factory, ground floor, this conveyor belt optimization, and taxi matching to people. All these things are algorithmic programming. And there is machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning kind of work, that is also algorithmic programming. And then there is computer vision and signal processing, which is cameras and microphones trying to get information from the surrounding. And now we have lidars and radars, all those things, that is also algorithmic programming. So algorithmic programming is all these things. However, today we are not going to talk about algorithmic programming in general. We are going to go to competitive algorithmic programming. So compared to normal algorithmic programming, in competitive algorithmic programming, you have very well defined problems, inputs. So it's like this. The questions ask you to, so let me show this. For the question says things like this. You are given this information and you have to find this. It is very well defined. The problem is very well defined. And then you have resource limits. Like use the question itself says you can use the CPU for 1000 milliseconds and the memory limit is 128 megabytes. So there is a very strict resource limitation, a well-defined problem, and constraints as well. So example, if the problem is to write a program for n positive integers, there is a constraint saying the n can only be up to 1 lakh 100,000. The constraints are there. And then you have these examples like how the input and output should be. For example, you can't at least have a space more than this. So when it comes to the competitions, you have very well defined problems, input output formats, and constraints on the input output formats. And then there is a marking scheme. For example, here it says the program should run in 1000 milliseconds within 1000 milliseconds for n up to 100,000. If your code can only run up to not 100,000, 10,000 is all you can do within the 1000 millisecond CPU time, you get around 50% of the marks. If you can do everything only, you get full marks. So there is a marking scheme as well. So if algorithmic programming is kind of an industrial job, competitive algorithmic programming competitions are more like an exam. It's not like, it's very well defined and strict than the actual algorithmic programming. So we talked about resource limitations. They come in two forms, CPU time and RAM in megabytes, and they are held on platforms. There are specific platforms for these competitions. So here are some platforms. HackerRank is the one that's really famous in Sri Lanka, but since IEEEXtreme went to CS Academy is getting famous, but in the world, Codeforces is the famous one. And there are other things like CodeChef is a new one from India. So it's coming up because India has a huge programming population. And then Project Euler is a highly mathematical platform. So it has always been this niche area for highly mathematical questions in this domain. And Topcoder is, so it's not just for competitive programming. There are other design sort of tasks on that. So they have like a wider range than everything else in Topcoder. So I would suggest you to familiarize yourself with these platforms. Then there are rules, regulations, and awards. So the previous speaker went into what the rules are, regulations, and awards, so that you should like have an idea what these rules as well. And then there are limitations on programming languages and libraries. The idea is in these competitions, you for example, in IEEEXtreme, you can use almost any language, but you cannot import libraries. Like for example, you can use Python, but you can't do something like pip install something. And then you can use something like Java, but you don't have like some dependency management systems. Those you don't have. So there is a definite restriction on the use of libraries in most of these competitions. But in some competitions, such as ACM, ICPC, and all, I think you can't use all the languages. The languages are also limited. But usually, C, C++, Python, Java are ubiquitous. You have them in almost any competition, except there is this high school competition called Informatics Olympiad, which, so it's for pre-university students. Someone was asking about those competitions. So at the end, I will talk more about that. In that, you can only use C and C++ and Java, not Python. But those three are okay for almost anything. And what does it take to win in competitive programming. So the general expectation is you need to be good at programming, you need to know a bit of math, and you need to be creative to solve problems. However, as Indrajit clearly said, the reality is it's all about practice. You should be able to do all this programming, math, and creative stuff very fast. To be able to do that, you have to have a lot of practice. So the first advice in this whole endeavor is practice as much as possible. So what should beginners do in order to get good in this? So if you're an absolute beginner, pick one programming language. It can be C++, Python, or Java. Why they are popular is since the community is using these languages, there is lot of resources to learn competitive programming in these languages. The community is important, the support is important, and the resources are important. So pick something that is community supported. For example, you can have a very niche language and you can be really good in that, but when you run to a problem, you don't have someone to ask for a book to look at. So that's simple. You just need to learn the basics of the language, inputs, outputs, if else for stuff, and how to write functions, basic logic. That's enough in programming. And then start practicing on a platform like HackerRank or CS Academy. Both of them have good, like the platforms are stable and everything is good, but CS Academy is preferable because it is the platform for IEEEXtreme. And learn basic data structures and algorithms. So how to do that? You obviously have an undergraduate course on data structures and algorithms. If you have not done that course yet, so I can suggest you to go through the internet and learn as much as possible. I'll show you resources for that as well. But the best thing you can do is go and talk to the lecturer or the professor teaching basic data structures and algorithms, the first course, and ask for help. It's always good to have some sort of guidance when you're starting. And after a while, you will become an intermediate. When you are an intermediate, go to local competitions. Like when you know the basic programming and a little bit of data structure, start going to competitions. You have IEEEXtreme, organized in almost every university, ASUS Coders, organized by University of Peradeniya, and IEEEXtreme, organized by University of Moratuwa. And there are a lot of other things. I'll show you links to like find where these competitions are as well. And yeah, so these competitions. So this is small advertisement from Peradeniya, and also this IEEEXtreme. Okay, and then when you get a difficult question, try it at least for a few hours. Don't give up easily and search for the answer. Try it at least a little bit. Few hours would be fine. Maybe trying for several days is not your thing, but few hours is fine. Even when you're not doing it, you can keep it in the back of your head and do something. And so you'll be constantly thinking that. And also draw stuff, scribble stuff on paper. Just don't look at the computer screen. You can use a whiteboard or a piece of paper to think and do rough work. That is better. And when you're doing difficult questions, learn advanced algorithms. For this, use the internet, use good books, and learn whenever a new algorithm, like a difficult question is there, learn the algorithm to solve that. That's how you develop, and start developing your own library. Have a GitHub repo, probably a private one if you don't want to share it with anyone. But you can always, like when you find a new algorithm, just put that code in the library. Also the questions you do, put them in the library. And for most of these competitions, you can take this code base. You can even search in the internet, but if you have a code base with all the basic and advanced algorithms, it's really good for you because you know where the code is. You can just get it, change it, and win competitions. And also ask for, when you go to a competition, always try to ask for the solutions and look at it. The other thing is practice as a team. So when you pick a 3-person team and learn to communicate fast, because you are solving at least one question per hour. So you have complicated logic in your head, how to tell it to your friend, and also this codependence. For example, who in the group knows graph theory, who knows dynamic programming, and how, when you look at a question and you figure out this is this, then how to pass it and how to debug as a team. All these things you can learn by practicing as a team. It is not just being an individually good programmer. So teamwork is important. So when you are an expert, so switch to C++ and learn it to the depth. Learn all the language, like gimmicks in the language, efficient ways of doing stuff, because a lot of advanced resources are in C++. And you can do a lot of things efficiently in C++. That's why most of the top programmers in the world are using C++. So now earlier I said start with Java, Python, or C++, but But if you have a choice, start from C++ itself. So then you will be at a better place when you're becoming an expert. And then the other thing is do weekly competitions on code forces. HackerRank and CX Academy are good to start, but after a while go to code forces, and there are weekly competitions, 2-3 hour stuff. Do them every week and take part in global competitions such as Google Code Jam and Facebook Hacker Cup. So yeah, if you have a good rank on these things, like you can definitely even go to Google. Like if you do well, you get an interview in these top companies, all that. So when you're an expert, do that. And the most important thing is absolve competition. So these are the global competitions. ACM ICPC is a inter-university thing that also, let's come to that. Like, I mean, if you're interested, let's come to that later. And the last one is absolve competition problems. That means absolving is after the competition is over, try to solve them. Like you can't solve all the problems in a 3-hour code forces competition, but solve them after the competition. Learn them, keep the code in your code base. That's how you develop. And why do competitive programming? So the first reason I would say is algorithms are the most beautiful, elegant, and the pure part of computer science. It's not a very bulky thing with a lot of tools and code, but it's a very beautiful part. That's a personal opinion. I'm biased towards this, so don't take my word at this. But however, so I claim that to be beautiful. But however, the next one is winning these competitive programming things competitions is looking very good on your CV. There are two reasons. First one is you should be analytical to solve these things. You should be good in problem solving, and you should work as a team. Like telling complicated logic to your teammates very fast and efficiently is an important skill as well. So that's there. And then so there are all these competitions, and then so for example, like inside the batch you have GPA to compare students. Maybe hackathons can compare students from different universities, but the thing is they're not doing, like, it's not a very straightforward competition, because someone makes a smart let's say smart food delivery app, and does a taxi app. So it's not very straightforward to compare them. I mean, hackathons, some people win, some people are good at talking, they win because of presentation skills, all that. But this is very straightforward. For example, you can compare yourself to all the undergraduates in the world and say, I am this good. So this looks very good on your profile if you want to apply to something. And then algorithm knowledge is tested on interviews by major companies. Like FANG means Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Those things, they always check for your algorithm knowledge, not your library knowledge or technology knowledge. So if you want to go really into really high-end software development, you need this. And then not just software engineering, you can get into interesting roles, which I will come to in the next slide. So what do you do with this knowledge apart from winning competitions? First one is you can get a software engineering job in a top company because they look for this. Then you can go into not normal software engineering. You can go into this algorithm intensive field such as highly scalable system design. For example, think of the Google homepage. You have millions of people accessing it. How can the servers serve these people? So how to do it in a very, like, scalability? It's a big issue. And how does something like let's say Facebook, they have these connections between like several billion people, and there are so many connections like friendships and comments and all those connections. So how to store them efficiently, how to process them, all that is like highly scalable systems. And then there is things like how to design operating systems, compilers, all that. And then like computer graphics. I'm not talking about like graphic designing from a user, like from a GUI. I'm talking about programming, how to store different graphics efficiently, how to program GPUs, how to do computer vision algorithms, signal processing algorithms, all that. It's so a lot of people who do good in competitive programming later go into these things. And of course, there is machine learning and artificial intelligence. Or else you can, so these are algorithm intensive fields where you use algorithms, or else you can do pure algorithms research by going for a master's or a PhD. So there are so many opportunities if you do this way. Some issues, obviously, like when you're putting time into competitive programming, you might be not putting time into something else. So we should be aware of the issues as well. Mid-range companies. There are like, not even in Sri Lanka, there are like very good companies, and there is a mid-range. Sometimes mid-range doesn't value algorithmic skills. they seek for people who are good in different technologies and frameworks. So that is an issue, but I don't think you should plan to go to the mid range, plan to go to the high range. And also, even if you go to like Google or things like that with algorithms knowledge, you need to get in. But after going there, you might not be working on primarily on algorithms. You might be doing software engineering work, which has uses of algorithms. But like getting into those top companies, you need to be really good in them, but you might not be using them that much. So that is a little bit of issue. But if you go to algorithm intensive fields, you'll be always be using algorithms. And for example, reaching the top in this field, for example, winning a code forces competition out of the whole world, or becoming IEEE world champions, that is extremely competitive. That we should acknowledge, because even top team from Sri Lanka has been in top 50, like around 50, 60 those ranks. So, but this is true for any field. For example, if you want to be a really good athlete and go to Olympic, it's also very competitive. So this is the same in the very top of the world, but you can go slow. You can go first rank in top, let's say 200 in the world, and first year you rank top 100 in the country, then go top 100 in the world, then work your way up. Like you have time and you can develop. And even if you don't go to the extreme top of the world, wherever you go, that is a very good experience, set a qualification, and you gather skills and knowledge going as much as up as you can go. So IEEE is a 3-person group thing, as Sindrajit was saying. So the idea is you can't have 3 graduate student members, but usually we don't have so many graduate students in our universities, so you'll be fine. And then it's 24 questions for 24 hours. It's not like you get a question every hour. Usually you get 1 question every hour, but in the start you get 3 questions, and there is a small period of time where you don't get questions for the lunch. So it's from 5 a.m. on a particular day to the 5:30 a.m. on a particular day to the 5:30 a.m. on the next day. If I am wrong, please correct me, because this is what I remember. And here are some tips to survive these 24 hours. It's a little bit difficult to stay awake and stay attentive and produce like good code for 24 hours. It's difficult. One advantage you have is, so this 24 hours is common to the whole world, but for Sri Lanka it starts at 5:30 a.m. For another country it might start at 5:30 p.m. as well. If you really think about that, at 5:30 you are waking up after your normal sleep. So that's the morning for us. And usually even on a normal day we can wake up at 5:30 and stay awake at 12 in the night. So that's not a big deal. Then like you have to only like power through only 5.5 hours in the meeting, like in the early morning. That is actually easier than saying being in a country where you start at 5:30 p.m. So you are awake for until 5:30 p.m. and then you have to stay awake until the next day 5:30 p.m. That is really difficult. So this timing, because of our time zone, I think it's good for us. The other thing is, even though you can uh, work in remote in 3 places, try your best to work in the same place, because then you can communicate easily. Of course you can go for Zoom and everything, but if you are in the same room for these 24 hours, you can work better. And then probably don't stay in the room with your bed, because you might feel like sleeping. So this is like a personal thing. So a lot of good teams, they tend to avoid heavy food because it might make you sleepy. You can have light food and stay awake better, and like you don't get sleepy. And of course have cafe and coffee and energy. If you're into energy drinks, have them as well. So however, you have to stay attentive for 24 hours. Stay in the game for 24 hours. Don't give up at in the midnight. Go give up in the midnight and sleep. And this is held on the CS Academy website. So create a profile now and familiarize with the platform. And there are a lot of practice questions. There are topic specific questions and competition questions as well. Do previous questions as a team. And you need a mentor. So the mentor, I think it's called he or she is called a proctor. So that should be an academic. I mean, probably your student branch knows this more about this than me. So one way to do is reach out to individually group can go and talk to a mentor or a proctor and ask them to be your proctor. But I think the better option is for the student branch to collect all the information about teams and find mentors for them. That is easier. That's just a suggestion. Of course, you can do it any way you want. And all three students need to have an IEEE student membership. So the next slide, probably, I'm going to tell this. I'm sorry if this is contradictory to the student branch opinion. So it costs $27 per year. I think it's in the expensive end compared to other. So it's like this. IEEE membership is not just about taking part in this competition. But if that is only like, I mean, if it's only for the competition, I think this is too much. I mean, that is a personal opinion. I don't know, like maybe. So there are few things that you can do to overcome this issue. First one is register late for the year. For example, close when you are registering close to the competition, you get one of these two advantages. One is you get this half membership thing, because if it's only few months for the year, you can register $1350 per year. So let's say you register in September, so then it's like end of September, let's say October, November, December. So 3 months they give this discount. And the other thing is sometimes when you're registering close to the end, you for this $27 you get those 3 months and the next year, both years. So then you can take part in the competition twice for the 27 USD. So I'm not sure the actual, like, how does these things happen. I think the student branch or the Sri Lankan section, also from the Sri Lankan section, they can clarify how to get one of these things. The other one is, so this is something we did pair then like sometimes students are reluctant to pay this amount and join. So what we did was we went for an internal event where we found some sponsors from the industry as well as the funding from inside the university, as well as we even asked for somewhat funding from the central province section. Maybe you can ask from the Sri Lankan section if they have money, and keep a competition and give memberships for top few teams. Maybe not the 100 the total $27 per student, but maybe a percentage even, because I think it's good if you can popularize this even at, like, I mean, the cost, I know the cost is sometimes an issue for some students, but try to popularize the competition as much as possible, because it's good to have this experience. And I don't think like if you're taking use of all the IEEE benefits, this cost might be justifiable. But whatever, like maybe someone from the student branch can talk about this first two techniques after my presentation. And some frequently asked questions: do you need to be an expert in programming? No, you just need to know very basic functionality in the programming language. Do you need to be an expert in algorithms and data structures? No one is. So you probably are not. No one in the world is an expert on that. So do you need very advanced mathematics knowledge? No. This is not a mathematics competition. You don't need to be able to do proofs or very hardcore stuff, but you should know a little bit of discrete mathematics and number theory. That's easy to learn. And what do you need? You need problem solving skills, but that comes from practice. It's all about practice, practice, practice. So I want to thank a few people. First, it's Indrajit from IEEE Sri Lanka for inviting me for this and allowing me to share my knowledge and probably some anecdotal opinions with you. And Heshan Jaisinga from IEEE Unitech for inviting me, and the whole student branch for organizing this event. So we always feel like the competition is important. Competitors have to do this work for 24 hours and do all that, but you need people to organize the event. Actually they are not competing, they are organizing the event. That is a sacrifice they are making, so we should be thankful to them. And other speakers and the moderators, thanks. So you have making this possible, and all attendees, including I think the dean was here. Thank you, sir, and the academic staff and the students for listening for all this. And I want to apologize to Heshan. For example, if I was not very enthusiastic about all the poster stuff, that's not because I'm not enthusiastic about the event. I was not interested about that, but please don't take it the wrong way. I'm really interested in helping you organize these events and popularizing algorithmic programming, because I think that was very beneficial to me personally to get involved in these competitions from early on. And so this is the summary. So we talked about what algorithmic programming is and competitive programming is, the difference, the limitations and all that. And then we talked about what we need: programming, mathematics, creativity, and most importantly, practice. And then we talk three things that are mostly considered in these competitions: correctness, that is getting the correct answer; efficiency; and solving in real time, in time, like solving 24 questions in 24 hours. And then what resource limitations are in a problem, that is RAM and CPU usage limitations, and the constraints on the input and the output. Then we talked about team competitions, why you should practice as a team, and why communicating complicated logic to team members is important. And then we talked about advantages for the future, jobs, research, and higher education, all that. And then we talked about some issues. And then we stressed upon the fact that you have to absolve questions after the competitions. You have to try them and do them again. Like the questions you couldn't do in the competition, you should try as much as to get them done. That's how you learn the things you don't already know. And I'll show you some additional resources here. And if you have any questions, you can contact me on this link. I have my email there. Please drop me an email. Of course, you can contact me on several other ways as well, but I like email if that's fine. So I'll go to this link here. So I have this thing, competitive programming section in this resources. So here I have this repository, solutions for past problems. So this is a repository maintained by the programmers in Peradeniya. Here we have a code base. So I want all of you to create your own code base like this. So here you have answers for ACES coders and CodeJam, HackerCup, IEEEXtreme, different ones. And then you have libraries like fast input. You can look at these libraries. And then we have algorithm implementations, graph algorithms, search algorithms, all of them we have implemented inside this code base. Have something like that, at least fork this but and develop this and send pull requests, like improve this and keep it for you. Then you can do competitions faster. And here is a discussion group. This is also maintained by like Peradeniya students, and but you can join this. Go to this one and request to join, then you will be added. Here you get emails about all the interesting events happening in Peradeniya, and sometimes even the outside ones. And you have like all competitions, links, all that as an email. So join this group if possible. And so I am putting their slides I'm talking now here as slides here. And a longer version of this was done by Suren some time back, and you can have look at that here on YouTube. And here I have a list of topics that you should cover if you are serious about this from Geeks for Geeks. So this is the list. For example, they say what the basics are, then what are the platforms, and then what are the basic data structures that you have to learn, and for all these things they have code inside this. And then basic algorithms, all this, like you don't need to do all these in a day, but go slow, but do them. Because more algorithms you know, more algorithms you have written code by yourself, you are a better programmer. That's all here. Other than that, of course, I have like listed a lot of resources here if you want. Probably what else? Maybe if you want to learn more about going forward with algorithms and becoming an algorithmic researcher, I have written a lot of stuff here about going to masters and PhDs from this field. And yeah, that's it. These three are the important stuff. Yeah, that's it. I'll stop here and let you ask any questions. Is that fine? Or else do you have a separate Q&A session? I think we have a separate one. So I'll pause here and keep the screen on my screen so the Q&A session moderator can take over. Thanks for listening. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your valuable speech, and thank you for sharing those experiences with us. They will be really helpful for all of us in the near future. With that, we are moving into our Q&A session. If you have any question or any clarification about IEEE Extreme, this is your chance. Please unmute your mic and ask the question. You can also type your question in the chat box. Especially, you can ask your question in Sinhala or Tamil as well.
Sorry, may I interrupt you to have about 5 minutes before Q&A session and give my talk first and leave? Organizer.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sorry to interrupt because I can't wait too long because I'm waiting for another call. But I'm really happy to see this kind of event organized by our University of Vocational Technology, IEEE, the student chapter. So as the Dean, I'm really happy to see this kind of events. And two speakers are really good. In fact, I really enjoyed last one. It is not because first one is bad, because I was not here for the first speaker, Mr. Indrajit Ekanayaka, but I hope you also have done a tremendous job by educating other young students and encouraging them to come to this kind of competitions and also join IEEE student chapter. Thank you, Indrajit. I heard you are from the Sri Lanka chapter IEEE, so I'm sure our students are contacting with you to get more advice. And of course, I really enjoyed this Mr. Gihan Jayatilaka. I think you are from University of Peradeniya. In fact, it happened to go back into my earlier memories. Sometimes, perhaps before you born. In fact, many of our students doesn't know this. I am from the very first batch of computer science and engineering, not Peradeniya, but Moratuwa University. And we were the first computer engineers in Sri Lanka, computer science and engineering. And of course, I specialized in artificial intelligence and those intelligent kind of algorithms and so on. So that's why I was really interested, thinking back my earlier days. Unlike today, those days we have to develop not only algorithms, but codes for them as well. There were no built-in packages for us to use. For example, like genetic algorithms, I had to write from the very beginning using C and C++ codes, all those things. But these days you can really just apply them because they are already available packages. But when I listened to this, I thought of telling about myself a little bit because after graduating from University of Moratuwa, I went to Singapore and worked as analyst program and then software engineer. And while doing my master's, and it was really interesting because one of my master research was in computer chess. So for the chess game, intelligent algorithm. So I had to compete with, perhaps you have heard about Deep Blue. During my time, they were there. So they handled it with a number of huge machines, but I did one thing with one just parallel computer with 1024 processors on board. So those are the things we faced. And then like that. And the other thing, now the Gihan explained about advantages and benefits by participating in this kind of competitions. Of course, from last year onwards, you are facing a real bad situation due to this COVID situation. Now you can't come to university and have like events. Generally, university students having, especially extracurricular activities, sports and games. So that is the missing part these days. Actually, those kind of things helps you to develop your other skills, what you need. So, because I did so many sports during my time, and I managed to won the gold medal for university, only one gold medal for best all-round student sports and academic. So you have to do so many sports. I won like 5 university colors for 5 games, and I did about 10 sports during my time. So why I'm telling those things help me a lot to come to this high level positions. Now I'm in academia, but industry also, they help me a lot into going into leading positions. Not only that, winning scholarships. In my case, you might maybe surprised to hear. I did 2 masters, MSc and MIng in Singapore from National University of Singapore, NTU, Nanyang Technological University. Those are the 2 leading universities in Singapore. Then I went for my PhD, Australia, and I did my project with Germany. So time to time I traveled here and there, Germany to Australia, and so forth. And the important message, what I'm giving you, I did all those things without paying a cent, without spending any money. How? That's the important thing. So with all these skills I got, apart from normal graduate, I had this other extracurricular activities, sports, and so on. So I was an international rated chess player by then. And during that time, only 5 Sri Lankans having that level. So all those things helped me to get international awards like scholarships and so on. Even when I went to Singapore, I managed to get their local scholarships given for Singaporeans only. But somehow I managed to get that. And Australia also, something like that, industry scholarships. So this kind of things helping you quite a lot. If you participate like IEEE competitions and so on, that helps you in future. Now you might not realize the value of it. It doesn't matter whether you lose. It is participating games is not only winning. Of course, everyone cannot win, right? First place, or first 3 places, so only 3 teams get in that. But a number of other teams losing. But they are not real losers. If you participate these things, you can use them in your CVs, and when you go to industry, they will consider those kind of skills, right? So since I don't know how many years you won't be able to participate other sports and games, but you can participate computer competitions like IEEE now coming in. And last year I acted as a proctor, but I didn't know much about this. And this year also I'm happy to help our branch and so on. So I encourage all of you. I heard A-level students are also participating. All of you try to participate this kind of competitions, and the real advices given by Mr. Gihan when participate in competitions, practice is very important, as he really mentioned. So you have to practice again and again, and he has given us some kind of database where you can access those things. And I'm really thanking you what you guys doing at University of Peradeniya, helping others as well, sharing those. And he has given a very good advice. Try when you see problems, of course answers are there, but don't try to see answers first. But like his advice, at least try few hours before you see the answers. At least try few hours before you see the answers. Then only you develop your own skills. It is okay to fail. Failure means you are learning some things. And also the other advice is try to work as a team, because you have to compete as a team. So better to be together and try those examples as a team. That will develop many other skills. You need to work as a team. When you compete, those experience will really help you, right? Uh, so those are very valuable advices. And like this kind of competitions, try to participate as much as possible. Even you lose first time, second time, you can compete in a better way, right? So again, I thank you all organizers and the two speakers. You handled this really well. I think you have given all kind of points which needed by other newcomers and also those who have participated. So I wish you all good luck, and hope Sri Lanka would won this time many awards in this IEEE Extreme. Thank you all. Thanks for giving me time. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable words. Your advice meant a lot to us. So let's we move again to our Q&A session.
Hi, I have two questions in the private chat. Shall I answer them?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, ask.
Okay. The first one is from Nirosh Lakshita. It says, are things like C++ string library usable in the competitions? So anything that you get in the standard library is usable. Like when you install GNU C++ library, that's G++ library, the standard library, everything is usable. Like if that comes with the compiler, everything is usable. But the additional things that, things you install after that, they are the things that are prohibited. Anything that comes with the standard compiler, yes, almost anything in the import you can do it. Include things you write, you can use them. And the other one is, tell us the maximum algorithm knowledge we need to at least get in the top 100. So I think you're asking about the minimum algorithm knowledge. The maximum is something else. I would say, uh, okay, how can I answer that? So in the undergraduate, there is this basic like the first data structures and algorithms course that might not be enough to get in the top 100. That might be enough to get into the top maybe 300 or 200. The first, like if you have a 3-credit algorithms and data structures course, that will be enough for like top 300. But if you want to go to top 100, I mean, I don't have a definite answer, but you need to know more than that. Do some work on your own. I mean, getting into top 300 with just the course is also difficult. Like you have to practice, but the knowledge wise, the undergraduate first course might be enough. That. Yeah, those are the 2 questions in the chat.
Kian, I have a question. Could you elaborate us a little more about the role of proctor and how a team should communicate with the proctor?
I think it is better explained by Indrajit than me, because from my understanding, it's a official need. It's not that much important to the competition itself, that you just need to have a proctor in the room to make sure that you don't cheat and you don't starve for 24 hours. That's all from my understanding, but I think Indrajit can elaborate more on the proctor's role.
Yes, yes, as Gihan said, I hope I'm audible. As Gihan said, yes, basically a proctor is for not to like how to get into the answer. He's just to like mentor and just to like make sure whether you are not doing anything like not legal in the competition. So there are some rules and regulations. The proctor is just for like look after you and yes, just to make sure whether you are not making any like copying from others. Likewise, you can obviously you can talk with like talk with the teams, other teams, but not like copying and all. Yes. Apart from that, yeah, that's as per my understanding. Yes, but every team should have a proctor, definitely. Hope you got the answer. If not, please tell me.
Yeah, thank you both of you.
Excuse me, sir, I have a question. Is there any platform to practice before the competition?
I think Gihan will go.
Yeah. So it's CS Academy. That is the platform that the competition is being held. You can go there. So CS Academy is the platform you have to practice. It's exactly the same thing as you get on the competition day.
Okay, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have any other question? Okay. Now we have arrived at a special moment of today's event. For devoting their valuable time to share those invaluable experience and knowledge, we are ready to present tokens of appreciation to our keynote speakers. First, I call upon Mr. to accept this token of appreciation from the IEEE Student Branch of University of Vocational Technology.
I should mention that before end the session, I should mention thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm always open for any questions. If you have any clarifications regarding the competition wise, I will always glad to help you. Just drop me an email or just drop me a message on whatever the social media. And thanks for having me. And yes, I hope you got some knowledge.
Also, I would like to call upon Mr. Gihan Jayatilaka to accept this token of appreciation from the IEEE Student Branch of University of Vocational Technology.
So thanks a lot for the token as well as inviting me and letting me speak. So it's always nice to introduce people to competitive programming. So have fun writing interesting code for interesting problems. And thanks a lot again for everything, the event and the token and the invitation.
Thank you. With that, we have reached the end of today's program. Therefore, I would like invited to Ms. Nadi Sarachandra, the Secretary of IEEE Student Branch of University of Vocational Technology, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. This is the first time we are going to apply to IEEE Global Coding Competition as a student branch. So today, IEEE Global Coding Competition to our students. Although we can't meet physically due to this COVID-19 outbreak, so we plan to hold this event online as a webinar. So we will be lucky to have Sri Lankan section lead at IEEE Extreme 15.0 at IEEE, Mr. Indrajit Tekanayaka, and Research Assistant at the University of Paradeniya, Mr. Gyan Chatilaka. Thank you so much for joining with us and sharing your valuable knowledge and experiences with the students today. Then I would like to extend my sincere gratitude all those who joined with us to make this event a success. Especially, I extend my sincere gratitude to our branch counselor and Dean of Faculty of Engineering Technology, Dr. Kogalage, and Head of the Department, Electrical and Electronics Technology, Dr. Sanjeev Sundaragala, your immense guidance given to us in making this event success. Thank you.
Thank you. Please turn on your cameras for a group photo.
Okay. Okay, Sandhini.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your participation today. Let's wind up for now. Please stay safe and good. Until we meet again, I wish you all a good night. Thank you.